You've had Spam before, sure, but have you mastered the fine art of transforming the savory canned meat into a delicious breakfast treat? As with all kinds of cooking, learning what not to do is just as important as getting it right. Keep watching to see all the mistakes people make when preparing Spam. You may be surprised to know that you don't have to cook Spam completely in order to enjoy it healthily. That's because, according to Healthline, Spam is already cooked before it even makes its way into the can. Therefore, you can technically eat it without cooking it at all. And it's not going to make you sick. This can come in handy if you're camping or in another situation where cooking is difficult.
Well, you're a man of simple tastes.
I'm not a gold-class passenger.
However, that doesn't mean you should eat uncooked Spam out of the can all the time. Most people seem to agree that it tastes better when it's been warmed up, and we all like it when the edges get crispy, adding a bit more texture to the mix. If you want to eat Spam without cooking it, go ahead and be our guest. It's already cooked through, so food poisoning shouldn't be a concern. It should go without saying that you should first take your Spam out of the can before you cook it. Well, one Boy Scout attempted to prevent a mess by simply cooking the Spam in the can over the fire.
No way!
Although Spam may be an incredibly versatile food, you do in fact need to take it out of the can before you attempt to cook it. Cooking Spam over an open fire while you're camping? Highly encouraged. Cooking it in the can? Not so much. When it comes to Spam, you don't have to worry too much about how long it's been in the can before eating it. That's because, according to Primal Survivor, Spam's best buy date is generally about 3 years from when it was manufactured. So, provided the can hasn't been damaged or opened in any way, you can keep a can of Spam for a long time. This is one of the reasons why Spam is often viewed as a good survival food. Whether you're going camping or preparing for a disaster, there's a good chance that Spam will come in handy. But what about once you open it? Eat by Date says you don't even have to use it up too quickly after you've opened the can. It should last sealed in the refrigerator for around 7 to 10 days. Just because you can keep Spam around for a long time before you eat it doesn't mean you can leave it on your counter for days. Just like any other meat, this makes you liable to foodborne illness. And trust us, you don't want that.
Oh my, okay.
Oh no.
What is happening?
Nothing's happening.
Oh my God.
However, Spam isn't as likely to spoil as quickly as other types of meat due to its high concentration of sodium nitrate and salt, according to Survival Freedom. These ingredients act as preservatives, which keep your Spam fresh for longer. However, it's still important to refrigerate Spam once you've opened the can, if you don't use it all in one recipe. If you want to get the full Spam experience, it should be the star of the show. You don't want the meat to get overpowered by the other ingredients. According to What's Cooking in America, you'll want to slice your Spam about a 1/4 inch thick if you're using it for Spam musubi, the Spam meat sushi snack that's become a staple of Hawaiian cuisine. We also think the same principle applies if you're frying it up for a sandwich. This is enough Spam to give you just enough flavor to complement your other ingredients. Since Spam is so salty, it has a pretty intense flavor. It also is very fatty, so getting a huge bite of the stuff might give you that strange feeling that you've got a layer of oil coating your mouth. Again, you're going to want to stick to that 1/4 inch guideline if you're trying to make the best Spam sandwich. Much more than that, and you'll likely go into a Spam overload before the plate is empty. Of course, this is a matter of personal preference. So if you want to slap a brick of Spam onto your sandwich, by all means, go right ahead. However, if you're looking for a balanced flavor profile, don't make those slices too thick. When you're cooking meats like chicken, beef, or shrimp, you may love adding super salty ingredients like anchovies or olives into the mix. Salt gives meat, and nearly any dish, an extra layer of flavor that makes them even more appetizing. However, it's important that you don't treat Spam like fresh meat, as its sodium content is already so high. If you were to add salty ingredients to your Spam dishes, you'd likely be making your food way too salty. According to Healthline, a serving of Spam contains 32% of the recommended daily intake of sodium. Spam already has a lot of flavor, so don't think you have to add other salty ingredients to further season it. In fact, the Spam is going to end up seasoning the other ingredients. If you want to add salt or other salty ingredients, Take it slow and taste as you go. One mistake that people commonly make when they're searing Spam and a lot of other foods is crowding the pan. According to Cooking Clarified, this can result in a less than desirable outcome for many foods. But when it comes to Spam, it's especially important not to crowd the pan, since getting it nice and crispy is essential to so many recipes. So what's wrong with crowding the pan? The more you add to your pan, the more it lowers the cooking temperature. Even if you start off with a really hot pan, adding too much Spam to it, especially Spam that's been refrigerated, can significantly slow the cooking process. But there's another problem with crowding your pan with Spam. If you have layers that are covering each other, moisture is going to get trapped between them. All of this moisture makes it harder for your Spam to crisp up properly. If you have a lot of Spam to cook, do it in batches. If you know one thing about Spam, it's probably that it's loaded with fat. Take one bite and you'll immediately get a sense of just how fatty it is. And though you could always opt for Spam Light, which has 50% less fat, most people are going to be cooking with the original stuff. If that's the case, remember that you don't have to add any oil to the pan, according to Food 52. Plop some Spam into a pan and you'll notice that some of that fat is released right away. All of that rendered fat will prevent the meat from burning in the pan, negating the need for oil. For those who want to explore new ways to cook Spam, air frying the stuff is a great idea. Because it's already so fatty, this canned meat doesn't have a hard time crisping up regardless of how you cook it. But when you put it in the air fryer, the machine takes the crispiness to a whole new level. Plus, we love that it's a super easy no-fuss method. According to Cooking Perfected, you won't have to spend longer than 10 minutes preparing your Spam in the air fryer. Not only does it get the job done quickly, but it's also less messy. One thing to remember, just like you don't want to crowd the pan when you're frying Spam in a skillet, you don't want to crowd the air fryer basket. Your Spam will get its crispiest when you lay it down in a single layer. Ever feel like Spam is just way too salty to really enjoy? Well, we have a solution for you. According to the Natural Gourmet Institute, all it takes is a bit of water to wash away a lot of the salt content. Simply soak your Spam in cool or cold water before cooking it. If you're in a rush, try rinsing the Spam in the sink. If you want to get even more of the salt out, try boiling your Spam before you cook it. Whichever way, you'll need to pat it dry before attempting to fry it. Other ways to make Spam taste less salty include pairing with potatoes, which can handle a lot of salt, and pairing your Spam with something acidic, like lemon juice or apple cider vinegar. Vinegar and oil complement each other exceptionally well, and fat and acidity is a winning combo with Spam too. We get it, Spam is a classic, and there's a good chance that most of the times you've eaten the product, it was the plain old stuff you've always had. But did you know that there are actually a wide variety of Spam flavors on store shelves? The classic option is always great, but if you're looking for something on the lighter side, you might want to opt for Spam Light or Spam Less Sodium. Those who are looking for a slightly different flavor profile can try the hot and spicy Spam, or go for the jalapeno flavored stuff. It's not particularly spicy, but we think the extra layer of flavor can add a lot of interest to whatever dish you're making. Spam teriyaki is a great choice when you want a richer flavor, and the Portuguese sausage variety gave us an experience we never even knew we wanted.
Which makes you the best, but the rest of us need you to lead us to places we otherwise wouldn't go.
Next time you go to the canned meat aisle to pick up a can of Spam, don't just settle with the flavor you've always experienced. Switch it up and try something different, and you might just find that you have a brand new favorite. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more mashed videos about your favorite foods are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.